Dama, welcome everybody. And of course it crashes. Every time I try and open up a Renpy game, it always crashes. Alright, I'll get back up. But yes, Domo Cosmic, I did see you didn't get any sleep. That's okay. Hopefully you'll get better sleep tonight. Welcome, Miss Seneca. Let me give you that shout out. Hope you had fun with Slay the Spire. Welcome everybody. But yeah. We're going back to this game because I did not finish it on Tuesday. I had planned to finish it on Tuesday, and I did not because it was longer than I thought it would be. But that's fine. I could do Musynx whenever. Slay the Spire crashed so much. Oh no. Gotta love when games crash, right? So yeah, last we left off, we died twice. Once was being drowned by a mermaid, and the other one was being buried by a gravedigger, so third time's the charm, maybe? We'll go to this castle and find out. So you want to go to the castle? Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their beleaguered, put-upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. I think there was technically more crashing than was actual gaming. Oh no. Like, that's not good. Well, hopefully there's a solution to it, so you can keep playing. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which will be full of dirty, barefooted peasants? It is better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. That is very astute of you. It's like, well, you know, process of elimination, but whatever, game. It crashed every minute, holy shit. I'm trying to open this water bottle here, it's like frozen shut. It was like, I had a water bottle before, and then I was like, I'm thirsty. And I chugged it. So now I have another one that's cold. Okay. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. Fun! I can hope only you've brushed up on your courtesies. They might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental after all. If you fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, you might come to regret it. It's like, oh boy. It's like, gee, that's gonna be fun. It's like, how are we gonna die in this one? You follow the path that will lead to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs, which feel ready, at a moment's notice, to detach from your hips. You're more than a wisp, but you feel like you've been running... More than a wisp of a girl, but you've been running for so long, and your feet are so very numb, you feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lie down, and quickly. You only hope as you continue to run that you'll find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what exactly will await you at the castle, but you have visions as you run of a vast, opulent dwelling. Oh, hi, Taffy. He's just staring at me like, Mother, what are you doing? Give me attention, Mother. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and queen inside the castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise. And what of their children? What of a princess? Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you in your plight. Like, do you want toy, kitty? You want worm? I got worm toy. He loves worm. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft pink lips, pursed like a rosebud. Mother, it's 'tis the time. Feed thine feline. Like, his food literally just got dispensed. He has his dintins, he's just being a brat. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibilities will be sweeter than marzipan. She'll be kind to you and passionate, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are, though, or younger sisters for that matter. You're only guessing. You're not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have a few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know from voracious reading, have the best track record when it comes to caring for the peasantry. No peasants here. Was there not a very famous queen who once said with a cavalier wave at her hand that the hungry peasants in her kingdom should content themselves with cake if bread was not an option? It's like, that's actually a myth, but go on. You think this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. The royals are supposed to grant their subjects succor in their time of need. This does not always happen. Like, yes, Betty Kitty. In fact, it very rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people at the end of the day, and they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. They can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. Like, basically, everyone can be an asshole. There's no guarantee that this mystical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there's no guarantee that this mystical princess exists at all. Still, you must try, in this hope which keeps you going. You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally you do it. How much time, you ask? I can't answer that. Did I not say that time has begun to lose all its meaning? It's like, oh yeah, the narrator is very sassy. The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwelt within it. It's still cold, though, and foggy and very, very dark. The sun is yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. I thought I said at a cliffside. I was like, what? The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows darker than the depths of the deepest ocean. It's indeed a myth, as you said. It was originally attributed to a great dame of France when Marie Antoinette was still 14 years old and living in Austria. Yeah, so it's like she was given the quote when she never even probably said it. The gossip. Fake news. The castle's not all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there are lights flickering within in the narrow, slitted windows. It would appear somebody is home. The king and queen, perhaps? What of their servants? Or perhaps more pressingly, of their guards? You half expect as you stand there that armored knights will accost you for daring to approach the castle of king and queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Be gone with you! You're not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one. Or rather, they were before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. Yeah, that sounds about right, because it's like, it sounded like in the other routes, since we were sent to like a fancy boarding school, that our parents did have money. But it seems like they were only able to send us to school before they went broke. So, whatever. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and your dirty skirt, which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be surprising. But though you stand there dithering, your filthy fingers hooked in front of your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. Lights might be on inside the castle, but there is nobody outside of its perimeters standing sentry. There is nobody to impede your entry in the elaborate iron gates which are set in the vast stone walls. Edie, why are you so hyper? He craves the violence, and the elaborate iron gates which are set to the vast stone walls about the castle's exterior are open, just a crack. It would be a trivial matter to slip aside. And your wand's broken too, Kitty. Why are you like this? There's nobody to stop you. He keeps breaking his wands. Fun fact, there used to be a decent-sized farm in my family until my great-grandfather mismanaged it. Ah, I see. So you're the grandson of the shepherd. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You have come so very far. Maybe an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go. You inhale, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has at long last begun to fail you. And then you step forwards. You slide between the wrought iron gates, as stealthy and secretive as a thief, then cross the path which leads up to the tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads to the castle itself. Honed from stone is closed, but at a push of your palm, it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. There are many guards posted at the castle grounds. They should have all been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you at long last? Yes, birds. What happens should they catch you? Will they throw you to the dungeons? That does not sound like a pleasant way to spend a night. At least you would have a roof over your head, though, and you would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminable amount of time, your heart pounding like a panic irregular rhythm in the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You are thankful for your good luck, though it does make you wonder. Where is everybody? Why is it almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared? Could you be the very last human left alive? It's like, yes and no. It's like, for people just coming into this, in the Gravedigger route, we found out the town was wiped out by a plague. So, the castle may have been affected by the plague as well. So, we'll find out. You frown, then press your palm back against the door. You push less cautiously this time, heedless of the sound which splits the silence. There's no worrying about the guards, not when they might very well be non-existent. Your entry to the castle secured, you then take a step forwards. The door swings shut behind you and the resultant slam makes you jump. You didn't expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs and with wild eyes you glance about. You're standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone which splits off into any number of passages. At the end of the hall, meanwhile, there's a large elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It's dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches. Then the sconces in the stone wall which are aflame. They offer some relief from the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You cannot hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle's empty. If that's the case, though, then who lit the torches? For royalty, there are actually special evaluation procedures in case of some kind of outbreak. Yeah. It's like, illnesses, that's for poor people. It's like, let me cover up my diseases with this expensive makeup and buy only the finest of herbs. Here's a curious conundrum. Like those filthy paws. But yes, welcome, Alola Gator. Our queen had an evaluation in place when a certain virus came to play with us. In the Middle Ages, they'd shut the castle gates. Yep. That all sounds about right. You muster up what remains of your courage and cry out, addressing the empty hall in timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. Hello, you say, your eyes wide. Is anybody there? Your voice echoes through the vast empty hall, but it is met yet again with silence. You cannot say you're too surprised, but it is somewhat disappointing. No one can be deterred. You try again and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anyone is here, they do not seem to be particularly sociable. Or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Yes, that must be it. You will never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know? It's time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to use. It's like, we have quite the active imagination, don't we? Not knowing what else to do, was there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are of a similar scale of the impressive entrance hall. Large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering and counting nobody save the ghosts of aeons past memorialized on portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor, too, you examine, wandering through a seemingly endless series of hallways until at long last you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack of the door and the jamb, you can see flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is a light nonetheless. Could it be from a fireplace? That would suggest then that this room is occupied unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against this door. You push it. Then you step aside the bedchamber, which unveils itself to you. Shyly you stand at the threshold of the chamber, much of your courage extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It's a chamber of luxuriance. Not even the shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Yeah, she is cute. Take my breath away. Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four-poster is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards at her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. The kind of girl who gives the boys with asthma. Yeah, right? The girl's hair is golden, just like a freshly cut wheat, and is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She is so striking you cannot look away from her. Oh. The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half so endearing as she. It's fucking terrifying. In her lap, perched upon her velvet skirt, is a doll. The doll's hair, like that of her mistress, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath a bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand, while the rim of the cup glints in the light which extrudes from the fireplace. If the girl is of a similar age to you, it seems strange that she would be content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? Baby doll. Yeah. Thinky cheesy moto, so I guess that would make me Musynx a baby, wouldn't it? This girl would be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes. She should not be sitting in what you presume to be her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in a doll's hand. But you cannot afford much more time. I think that's a typo. You are not no wait. Now I say I'm reading it wrong. You are not afforded. The wording of this game's so weird. You are not afforded much more time to stand there, marveling at the girl before she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when first you observed her sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed examining her doll. Now she's looking at you, however, her face illuminated by the flames of their grate. You can see that you were mistaken. She's not just pretty. She's beautiful. So much so, it is breathtaking. I'll be a good little baby. Just give me head pats and cheese strings. Like, oh yeah, I got cheese strings on the fridge right now. I could give you some. I love me some cheese strings. She looks as though she stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong to this world. Perhaps she's some kind of vision? A waking dream? A hallucination? But no, she has none of those things. The doll in her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain. It is unflinching, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who's holding it. She's so startlingly beautiful, she even puts man-made representations of feminine charms to shame. It's like, I'll give you Pulaski. It'd be a terrible little baby constantly demanding milk. Like, oh no, you can't have milk. Are you the lactose intolerance? That's sad. It's like lactose intolerance is surprisingly common, especially in like Eastern countries. It's the West that likes to eat their cheeses. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens, haven't you? You're rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than a knight-errant from a courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it's not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by the firelight. Yes, lactose is mean to me. Oh no. Seems a little loud. There we go. Suppose I could forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. Oh, the girl says in a voice surprisingly enough far less refined in her appearance. It's good to see you. I've been waiting. Has she? This is news to you. You blink, perplexed. A response on the tip of your tongue, but you're unable to expel it into the ether. The girl is setting her doll aside, then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly, like a ballerina, she canvases the space between you. Her room is so very large, there's quite a lot of space, then takes your hands in her own. You must, the girl says, her eyes aglow in excitement, be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it's such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew that you would. You'd never leave me alone, not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy. The girl's good mood is contagious, so much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You're tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. It's like, are you the new maid? Yes. Let's see, it's a Danish dessert made from yogurt and buttermilk sweetened with flavor vanilla, then served with crushed cookies. Oh, that does sound good. I'd want to try that. It's like, oh no, little gator needs some milk. It's like, we only got cow's milk. Well, I have almond milk. Would you take nut milk? Oh, whoa. You've never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she's always this kind. Yeah, this song seems louder than the others. A little more. There we go. You can't amass the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You're not good enough actress. In any case, this is all happening too quickly. Well, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so familiar? It's with the blank, bovine eyes that you examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, her fingers sliding away from your own. We're mistaken. Are you not my new lady's maid after all? The disappointment in the girl's face is so abundant. So much so. Like, I think this is like the 5th time we've seen so much so. Your heart clenches. You do not know her. She's still a stranger, but you are struck all of a sudden with the intense desire to appease her. You do not want to let her down. Like, I can make it lactose free. Oh no. The thought is devastating. You're not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if that's what she wills, you'll not be opposed to it. That sounds like murder soup with cookies in it. Like, I'd try it. You pray she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country and you've traveled for many miles. You do not know where you are, and you do not know who she is. What? You do not know who I am? It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though it is no fault of her own. Why, you spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself. Ah, so you're a fugitive from another country. I see. I won't pry into your past then, but you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everyone in this country knows who I am, after all, or at least they should. This is quite the impressive boast. If they were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, this girl is trying to show off. You get the feeling instead she's merely telling the truth. If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, then allow me to do the honors. My father and mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I'm its princess. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I know the other countries do exist out there. I presume it is from these foreign countries that you come from. It's very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to somebody from overseas. Feels like quite the opportunity. Tee-hee-hee. The girl giggles at this and you smile in response. You tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure really to meet her, or at least you mean to. You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess? Yes, that's right. I'm a princess, and one day I'll be queen after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to turn the country just yet, but I'm doing my best on my lessons. One day I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was. So she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she could have had you executed for your carelessness. An ugly red flush creeps up your face, a flush which is far more lurid than the princess's dress as you look to your feet. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address. You're very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope that she can forgive you. Oh, it's all right. Thinking nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes. And anyway, you weren't to know. You said you weren't from around here? You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You're not from this world at all. Did we get an isekai? Princess, enough about you. Let's talk about me. Yeah, pretty much. If everyone else is dead, is she really a princess? I'm like, well, I guess, like, if it's unclaimed land, she could be whatever she wants, I guess. How wonderful. I'll look forward to picking your brain later. All of my servants come from the nearby village. Their tales are all the same, and so are their superstitions. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever been afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long, I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. My last lady's maid was older than me, and so was the one before her, and the one before her. Some of the princess's fair mood seem to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning by degrees into something rather more pensive. But I haven't seen any of my old lady's maids in a while, or any of the other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. That's quite curious. How could a whole house full of servants simply disappear? Gee, I wonder. You know, good question. Without the societal structure that the position exists when, I suppose not. I don't know. It's hard to say. That I don't know. This castle was full of maids once. My lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers may have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explain anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It's so tiring. She said that her ministers had sent her servants away. One of her parents, the king and queen. Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy? They would, yes, if they were still alive. But they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants. Oh, you answer, and then you flush. Yeah, no. It's alright. You don't need to apologize. I'm just happy that I have you now. I'm getting sick and tired of having only my dolls to speak to. They aren't the best conversational partners. You can imagine so, yes. You doubt any doll, even one made by a talented artisan with an intelligent facing distinguishable from humans, would be very good at answering back. Yeah, it's like they probably all lived in the village, most likely. You're right. Oh, no, they aren't. They aren't open to that. They're so stony-lipped. You have no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here. Roll credits. Now, that's an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? Well, you know, this is only like the third time we've heard it. You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew, in that curiously conversational manner of hers, which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants, which would explain why her consonants are so unrefined. Oh, but listen to me yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you to your room? Yes, the princess announces before you can say anything reply. I think I'll just do that. I might show you around a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here, and I wouldn't want you getting lost. Well, you could be trapped here forever. Yeah, it is an empty kingdom, basically. Like, why am I coughing? There we go, drank some water. You'll be staying here for quite some time after all. Perhaps forever. The princess then hastens to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show all of the rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer you overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. You wonder what the plague is? We'll probably find out later. Because even though this is the last route, quote-unquote, there's different endings for going through the game multiple times, so we'll get there. We'll probably get our answers. It could be the Scarlet Rot. It could be a lot of things. Fortunately, she does not show all of the rooms in her abode, and neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pause by the kitchens, where she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway, up a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives at long last before a door. The princess pushes this door aside summarily, thus permitting you to entrance to a small, humble bedchamber. This chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and its richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, and the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. Basically, this is the peasant room. The walls are in an unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles is of warped wood. There's a malodorous scent, too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. Well, you know, there's no maids around to clean it up, so, you know, probably has mold in it. You get the feeling no one has slept in this room for quite some time. Now, I might explain why it feels so very cold in here. Though if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is cold in every room in her abode. Now here we are, the final stop on our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those of loyal dogs. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid you'll turn your nose up at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her integrating attitude makes you smile. Your room is rather scanty, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it is more than passable. It has a roof and 4 walls, and though it's cold, you fancy you'll feel warmer once you've slipped in beneath the bed sheets. It's like, every time it's like we kind of upgrade. It's like we went from like a straw house to a cabin to a fancy castle room. So like, upgrades, people, upgrades. Your room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share with anybody else. There's only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you. You think that the peace and quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as such, and she smiles. That's good. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. In fact, the interior of medieval castles were coated with garnished murals. Well, there you go. Most of the maids asleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's 10 beds up there, and they're so close together, there's barely any room to pass between them. Keep myself hydrated. It was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. No, not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day, and I couldn't go outdoors, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been sulking around, I don't think she would have been best pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps in there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you there, though, in the attic with all those empty beds. We don't want to be in an attic. I don't think it'd be very cheery. It's like, no attics, please. You're not just a scullery maid, you're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper's warned me enough times. You assure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. It's better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You were always scolded too back in the conservatoire for your behavior. You know very well how aggravating it would be to be upbraided, not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself. Well, I'm glad you understand, the princess answers with a giggle. I really should be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Yeah, attics have spiders in them, that is true. Yeah, not very garish. Like spiders are fans, unless you live in Australia. It's like they had I think it was Peppa Pig, they had to ban a spider episode because in Australia the spiders there are actually dangerous and poisonous. And in the Peppa Pig episode, they're like, oh, spiders aren't bad. And it's like, yeah, most spiders aren't bad if you live in like the US. But Australians, they forget about it. Get some rest. We'll talk more tomorrow, but if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle, I'm glad you seem to appreciate it at least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it immediately. All of my old maids did. The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed. Your new bed. You can't help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It doesn't seem like very long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life amongst the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled, grasping branches. The forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. You're indoors, inside a castle no less, and you have been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. These would be yours still to declare that you are out of the woods in a metaphorical sense, I mean, but things could certainly be worse. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too weary to support you. Change into the night clothes hanging by the wardrobe. Like, no, Miss Etika, come back, no! Domo, son of Dai, welcome, how you doing? It's like, yeah, they could be worse. Like, yes, feed Taffy. Easy. chunky, hungry boy. I have him on a strict like meal diet regimen. I literally only give him maximum 1 treat a day. And only if he actually scratches his scratching post like he's supposed to. But he's still so chunky. He's thick-boned. He's full of floof. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you're too tired to care about that. You're too tired to care much about anything. Doing well, it's the weekend, thankfully. Yeah, it is. Hopefully you have a good weekend. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath the sheets. Then you let your eyelids fall shut. You inhale. And lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You're very tired. Your sleep is a deep, dark one. Darker even than the furthest abysses of the nighttime. Like the nighttime sky, however, which shimmers with stars, your dream is not devoid of those prismatic fragments you humans call dreams. Though in this case, I'd rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. They are not dreams, are they, to which your slumbering mind is subjected? You know that they are not. Otherwise your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker between your closed eyelids, like the ghostly images in a phantasmal kaleidoscope, were not conjured from within your mind. They were instead taken from your memories. You are not merely dreaming. You are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory and how they always hastened to use the shower first so you were the last for breakfast. You remember how when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled, too, to find a seat when you did finally get your hands on some food because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. It's like a streamer I watch is on their mental health break. Understandable. It's like I did see someone also posting about having to take a break. It's good to take breaks once in a while. I always just gave him. My cats are always the treat. Like, I always gave my treats all the cats at once. Looks sad if I only gave them one. That's the thing, though. It's like you can only give them so many per day, but I know what you mean. They're so cute. Mother, how dare you put me on a diet? What will come winter? Without my vital fat reserves. He just gets extra thick when it's winter time. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for those favors, mind, for why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies, too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has the airs and grace of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? And Oshi is... It's one of those Japanese terms. It literally in Japanese, it means to push. And it's basically an idol that you cheer on. Like, you push them forward. You motivate them. So they're like... So in layman's terms, it's basically your favorite streamer or whoever. It's one of those lingos. You stood out in the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, frailest, sickliest who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor life did not stop the other girls from treating you as a servant, though, when they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, so you dwelt within the stone walls of the conservatoire to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing out the creases and wrinkles in their uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. Yeah. It's like it's a waifu, basically. Like, it's like a couple steps. I would say it's like a couple steps below a waifu. Yeah. Domo Kachu, welcome. Good to see you. How you doing? Hope you're having a good weekend so far. I hope everyone's having a good weekend so far. Like, it's like, my weekend's been alright, though I did have tummy hoit earlier, but thankfully it's done with. I think I had a bad cup of Starbucks. I'm feeling better now, thankfully. These girls did not ask you. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead, and as they ordered you, they laughed at you. They're all gonna laugh at you. They laughed and they laughed and they laughed. The laughter hurt, but it hurt considerably less than the kicks did, and the slaps and the pinches. Once during an embroidery session, one of your classmates had an accident with her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before you knew it, the silvery blades of those scissors were embedded in your left palm. Holy shit, that's fucked up. This happened quite some time ago, and when you were even littler than you are now, you can still remember it. Nah, waifu, put support in again. You're my Oshi. Well, thank you. I appreciate being somebody's Oshi. Arigato. And it's like, you're all my kawais. And as your senpai, I support you as much as you support me. It's a mutual exchange of professionalism, friendliness. Dummy horde shut it all down. Nah, I'm good. Yeah, this happened quite some time ago, when you were even littler than you are now, but you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp and they perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Your wound bled bright red, like strawberry jam, all over your embroidery. When your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale as way when she looked, and for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Like, that reminds me of the time when I got cut by scissors. It's like, I was cutting construction paper and I sliced my finger by accident. And I literally screamed at the teacher, that I got hurt. And she's like, go to the nurse. So I ran to the nurse. And it wasn't until the nurse started, like, cleaning the wound that I actually started feeling it. Professor looked at your face. She could not bear to look at your hand and demanded to know why you could not be more careful. Her tone had been accusatory one, almost as if you'd stabbed yourself in the hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They were never punished for it. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everyone else, thought it was your fault. With the wound, when it was all said and done, was not too deep. You did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time on its own, but it still left a scar, a white raised thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. Our Zen pie, wholesome and delicious dessert. Yes, exactly. Fun fact, jam and blood are nothing alike. Yeah, I don't know why she even made that comparison. They're nothing alike. Like, even when a girl has her period and it's thick, it's still not jam thick. It's like one step below jam. Answer the question though. She had a hospital trip back and had an IV drip for an ulcer. Well, I hope she feels better soon. It's like, those medical issues suck. We need to clean your wound a little. Pours cleaning acid on it. Like, nah, the nurse put my hand under the sink and, like, turned on the faucet to, like, wash it, and that's when it started to hurt. You don't know how much blood you lost. It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron, but it could not have been that much, evidently. Like, now you're described to take this a period blood. Not the content I expected. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, well, you learned something new today. If your wound has been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But that seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then the blood in your veins was, if such a thing was possible, even more inconsequential. You felt disoriented when you awakened long last with the rising of the sun. You don't remember what you dreamt, but you don't think the dreams were a particularly pleasant nature. They were, your heart were not, if they were, your heart not would be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You're lying in an air bed, an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? Not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it shrunk threefold overnight. Like, I gotta love when you wake up in for a second, you're like, where the fuck am I? Your brow froze as you attempt to recall the events of the night prior, until with a gasp it all clicks into place. You remember now, you're running through the woods trying to escape from... You shudder. You don't want to think of what it was you were trying to escape from. You assume you must have been giving your hunter the slip, though, because you were still in one piece, awake and alert to face the dawning of a new morning. You still have all your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. It's more than enough to be getting along with. You look at the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You see, lying upon the sheets, a garment. 2 garments, actually, of black and white, folded in a neat white square. What could it be? A maid's outfit? If so, it wouldn't be too surprising. You recall your visit with the princess the night prior and her assertion that you must be her lady's maid. Like, cool, we get to wear a nice little maid outfit. Narration here is quite nice. Well, thank you. At least you didn't wake up buried alive this time. Yeah, I know, right? I've done that. There's been times I thought I was sleeping in the complete opposite direction of the bed. Oh, I realized I'm stupid and switch sides. Yeah. You're like, wait a minute, how did I get here? Like, I wake up on my back. It's like, I always sleep on my side, but I always find myself waking up on my back, and I'm like, how did I get here? Well, if that's the rule she wants you to assume, you have no qualms with it. Domo judgmental cat. Yes, Petit Kitty. I'm a side sleeper too. Yeah. It's like, most people are usually either side sleepers or back sleepers, but then you got the occasional tummy sleeper. It's like, I can't sleep on my tummy. It would hurt. It is far preferable to the other role you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. I always wake up knowing exactly where I am. Well, aren't you lucky? These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them there? If so, then all the more reason to wear them. You're not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. You rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. This task accomplished, you then clad yourself in your new attire, black, white, and eminently sensible. That word sensible again. You feel very far away from the girl you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you seems to change. Caused by mild insomnia, leaving me partial awake most of the night. I'm sorry to hear that. It's like one of these days you'll get a good night's sleep, I'm sure. Hopefully. Someday! But I also have sleep problems. You're no longer a student, not as long as you mean to reside within the princess's castle. You would far rather be her servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber, then make your way to your mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms and many, many hallways to connect them, and for a brief while you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You're beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could this be the way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down the very same hall you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, then the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it's here! You rap upon the door but receive nothing on the way of a response. Is the princess still abed? You wonder briefly whether you ought to wait until she's risen of her own accord. Hydration. The sun is high in the sky, and it would seem a shame to let this princess sleep through the day. You ought instead to rouse her. It seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. Her room looks much the same as you remember from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the wan morning's light. You can see now that there are fewer shadows to impede your view, how very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you will be expected to keep a fire lit during the night. The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled on her side beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She is attired in a nightgown adorned with frills, and her hair is split across her pillow like spilled gold. I like gold. Yes, I will check my posture and not tramp. In her slender arms, meanwhile, held in her chest a doll, the very same one she was cosetting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Idly, you wonder what the doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. It is time to wake your mistress. You call to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still sewn tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. You purse your lips too and sigh. Well, no one ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however. She sighs and turns away from you, her doll clutched in her chest. Just give me a little longer, 5 more minutes. The princess sounds so enfeebled, you do not take pity on her. If you learned anything from the conservatoire, save the knowledge pertaining to the respiratory tracts of fish, it is that one must be cruel to the kind. You do not think that this adage was practiced in any great success in the conservatoire, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her once again to wake up, more sternly this time. You do not let her sleep, for she has slept long enough already. Wake up! It's very silly, really, to be abed in such an hour. Oh, the defeated princess sighs. All right, I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. Oh, she's got a cute nightgown. I used to have a nightgown like that, actually. And then, because I wear nightgowns. I don't wear PJs. So it's like, I used to have one like that, but it got old and I don't think I even have it anymore. I think I got rid of it. You embrace crab posture. Slav squat all the time. Or normal clothes to bed or nothing. Yeah, I can see that. It's like, so, a lot of times, if I go to someone's house, I'll take my nightgown still, but I'll still wear pants. Like loose pants, like baggy pants. I'm up, you don't need to nag me. Once you've roused the princess from her bed and you have put her doll to one side, you set her upon her toilet. You aid the princess in brushing her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow its fur to be brushed. Yeah, I tried giving Taffy brushies the other day. That didn't go very well. He got angry. You allow yourself to ponder as you run the bristles of the princess's brush through her hair. How wondrously soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess. Oh, you're right, dear one. Brings you back to your senses. You were rather lost in thought there. Looking lively now, you wouldn't want the princess to catch wind of your salacious thoughts, would you? You thought you learned your lesson about that already. Suitably chastened, you finish the princess's hair, then set the brush aside. Now that the princess's treads have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at your askance. You wear raw bacon to bed. It's like, well, you have a snack in the middle of the night. Yeah, but it would get greasy, yeah. Nightgown's interesting. I used to wear bathrobes. I still have mine, but it got weird past a certain age. Yeah, I can see that. It's like, I can see wearing bathrobes. Especially, it's like if you have to get up in the middle of the night or something. I can see that. She does not ask you to revert your eyes, nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of her nightgown. But it does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Is that alright? Yes, princess, as much. You would not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs. Yes, that's alright. It's what you're supposed to do if you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not a bit squeamish about it. She might not be as squeamish about it, but you are. You haven't seen a naked lady before accepting yourself. Even then, however, you've always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than strictly necessary. You've never much liked the way you look. You've taken a few mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them aside to one side easily. It's alright, I might be a princess, but with both people underneath all of our clothes, I doubt we'll look much different. You're not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you have already known to look at her face. To look at her face that you're different. Domo, Mr. Bloodblade, welcome. I have to go into Twitch settings and tell them that the word lady is okay. I don't know why Twitch is like, lady's a bad word. It's like, it's not a bad word, Twitch, stop it. Twitch is sexist confirmed. She is much, much prettier than you are. But she is waiting and you do not wish to keep her any longer. I doubt the game will let's compare. Yeah, unfortunately not. Yeah, it's alright. I caught it, so you're good, Mr. Bloodblade. But yes, welcome. I hope you've been having a good weekend so far. How you doing? You steady hurt your nerves. I'm doing well yourself. I'm also doing well, thank you. Unfortunately, I think they're both teenagers. Yeah, I think this is a PG-13. So it's like, if she goes to school, they're probably like somewhere in the teens. Somewhere. So we'll just enjoy it from a purely pure say-so perspective. And admire how cute it is. Until the murders happen. Then you reach out with trembling hands and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. You work as quickly as you're able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble a couple of buttons and flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly that you're doing or not doing, with her fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond you, to the windowsill and the sky beyond it. It isn't particularly sunny, but I don't think it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one? You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible so you can make some progress undressing her again. Inside of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Unfortunately, you're able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on perhaps by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, and neatly she steps out of her nightgown, which she motions once again as graceful and fluid as a dancer's. This task completed, you search hurriedly, worriedly for the princess's red dress. Where is it? You can't find it. So it begins to wrinkle down the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy, palms sweaty, knees weak. The moments pass awkwardly uneasy as you search. The princess is standing there all the while, as naked as the day she was born. Why not find her day dress before you stripped her dinner at night one? What a fool you are! Alright, I'll hydrate. Platonic, I guess. Well, the main character has romantic. I don't know. It's like, They're lesbians, Harold. The princess, noting your panic, giggles and does. Are you looking for my dress? Yes, you reply, your face flushed. That is what you were doing. I thought so. I did wonder before you started undressing me why you not asked me where it was. Maybe it slipped your mind. Then I slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. I'll be rushing through those lines. Interesting. Idea with the princess's current state of dress is inappropriate to also have them out. Yeah, you're right. It is suitable. They're right. We are looking for the dress. You're right. You're absolutely right. This is the appropriate time. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bare skin to think about how best to conceal it. My dress is in my armoire, the princess says, glancing over the aforementioned piece of furniture. That armoire of hers, I don't even know if I'm saying the word right, is an interestingly carved wooden structure, large enough for so you estimate to fit inside it through dresses to attire a whole ballroom's worth of princesses. My mind ain't the only thing slipping. Like, I think we're all slipping right now. Slipping onto these nuts. I'd like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? Yeah, the scene is so down bad. I don't want to rush you, but it's rather cold in here, especially when I'm still naked. She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. It's just as you expected. Inside the wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, then hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you are to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. She's easier to look at now, you think, with her thin skin concealed. Blech. That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish, even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. It seems like a small miracle you can still remember how to breathe. Like, the song that was playing for the princess earlier was quiet, and that was loud, and now it's getting quiet again, so I'm like, we can turn the volume back up. Ah, that's much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, and I already wonder what I'd do without you. Shyly, you assured the princess you did nothing, really. Nothing beyond your job. You didn't do anything incredible. In any case, being complimented by someone so pretty is embarrassing. Aw, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why wouldn't I when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to. And anyway. Wow, we're seeing through her clothes, fascinating such elegant outfits she has stowed. Yeah, she got so many nice clothes. I think you're very pretty, too. Oh my. Your face flushes from this, more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really, with all of this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiric tendencies. She looks like she'd be a vampire. She's got the eye, she's got the fangs, she's got the spikes. You sure she's not a vampire? You're making yourself quite the easy target. Now, the princess declares, why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice enough day, and I'd get so bored of being cooped up inside. You can't You can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark, and you think that the princess might have a point. Yeah, this ain't is the only one down bad. Yeah, right. Yeah, she's the princess of darkness. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick that they put you in mind of a crypt. Your acquaintance assured. I probably said that wrong. The princess quits her chamber, her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. She seems not to walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud, blow like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Some of her dress swishes around her legs and her hair shifts like a shroud. The country's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking comparisons to the princess's beauty. It's like, yeah, this probably is only the beginning. Like, they haven't even kissed yet. The courtyard is fenced in by castle walls, which look in the stark midday light, tall and imposing. Faceless soldiers standing sentinel. Though the sun is out, it's not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. It's all rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple, hemmed into a claustrophobic degree like a coffin. The princess, however, seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols about like a lamb, flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-fested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush, one full of bright red roses. Oh, how very pretty! Do you not think they are gorgeous, dear one? The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. They make for a fine spectacle, in fact, a welcome splash of color, when contrasted with the dullness and drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their bed are wilted, withered things, it is not so for the roses. They are bright, rich red, just like blood. Their heads so full they seem almost to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. The choice of words. They are pretty in a sense. There's something unsettling about them too. Something that's almost obscene. Like, I'll hydrate again. Yeah, this game uses very weird vocabulary. Like, this would be on, like, an SAT or some shit. Yeah, there's a focus on blood this time. Yeah, it's like... Yeah. How did those roses become so very red? What's been sustaining them? Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life from the other flowers which are struggling to grow within this garden? It is a fanciful thought, but... Oh, they are simply divine! Look at these roses always lifts my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color. Princess reaches out as if to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place amongst its brethren. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious that this gesture might result in a perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she is not. Who do you think she was? You? Clumsy McGee over here? Rather than worrying about other people, you would be better served if you're worrying more about yourself. Princess holds her newly perforated rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower sweet scent washes over her. The roses are vampires, yeah. It's like some plants are like that, where it's like they'll suck up all the nutrients. Then the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown. Now let me see, I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves me. Princess plucks a petal from the flower's overburned head. She loves me not. The princess continues with this childish incantation, all the while stripping a rose slowly and methodically of its petals. These petals flutter about the princess like bloody snow. The princess' voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of a pianola. The SATs, I feel words are meant to be communication, not for seek who recognizes things from niche context. Oh, I salty incredibly. I don't blame you. Sounds like the kind of person who's afraid to pluck nettle leaves. Probably, yeah. Domovic, welcome. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa. Yeah, it's like I took the SATs twice. First time I got a 1700, and then the second time I took it, I think I got like 1860. So I did better. Oh, well, what's this? She loves me not. She loves me not. The princess's fingers over the last petal, which crowns their nearly denuded flower. Then, with a triumphant smile, she declares, "She loves me! I knew it!" You watch the princess, amused by her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she'd been inciting is one you're familiar with. The girls at the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game. The younger ones, at least, who believed that a fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child yourself, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal. When it comes to fair princes, though, well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly, yes, the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, a query which makes the princess giggle. Oh, dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you. Naturally. She says this so easily, as though you ought to have suspected as much, and indeed, part of you did. You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid so. You didn't want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. Ho ho ho! She laughs and she laughs and she laughs, her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, as though you are the funniest thing she's ever seen. Yeah, I'm seeing as straight as a corkscrew, exactly. Not bad, I took it once and got 2,000, never took it again, but I took the ACT and got a 27, which was comparably worse. Stuck with my SAT score. I think I took the ACT, I forget what my score was. I just went with the SAT because that's what everyone else was doing. You never liked being laughed at when you dwell within the walls of the conservatoire, but it is different with her. You've not known her for all that long, but you're already entranced by her, ensnared. She has you wrapped around her little finger. Am I? The princess's laughter tempers off the series of giggles. Just smiling, she wipes her eyes from the back of her hand. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I've just had an idea. You look at the prince curiously. What idea? Can't tell. You cannot even begin to guess. I just thought that all the watching must be boring you, the princess says, tossing the rose's stripped stem carelessly to the ground. You should give it a try. Please do. It'll be fun, she says. The princess retrieves a second red rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you. I want to see what fate has in store for you, too. You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in childish games like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks so very determined you would not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? The only real casualty of this game would be one singular rose, the rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but... Oh no! You are clumsy and you seize the stem of the rose with a touch too much strength. That other rose might be pretty. There's more to a rose than its bright red flowers. Roses have thorns too, a fact you are now being painfully reminded of. Oh no, we're so clumsy. Pain flares through your finger and you gasp. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your finger is stinging and so are your eyes. You ought to have been more careful. Why were you so stupid? You poor dear, you're bleeding, the princess exclaims alarmed. Then she frowns. This is all my fault. If I'd not suggested this silly game, this never would have happened. Please, let me take care of you. How's she gonna do that? She means to take a handkerchief from her pocket with what she might staunch your wound. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude once these aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons, imagined dragons? This is where you cut yourself on a rose and die. I don't think you'll blame your eyes for reading troubles anymore. That's the thing though, is like the way I read is that it's like I'm the type of person that like rather than reading each word individually, my brain takes what's read as chunks. So sometimes my brain like doesn't process the words as they're supposed to. Like I'm sure you've noticed, and a lot of times they'll say it is or cannot, and I'll say it's or can't instead because that's how my brain's processing it. Autism. That's all I have. That's all I got. Yeah, chunky salsa technique. Exactly. Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It's simply not done. That's what you always thought, but... Please hold still. This might sting a bit. This princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of her pocket, she instead encloses her white, slender fingers around your hand. Carefully as though she's handling a precious object, she raises your hand, her eyes affixed all the while on the beads of startling crimson blood, which are oozing luridly from your wound. Another thing, too, is this game likes to use big words, and my brain's like, what the fuck? She licks her lower lip. Then she dips her head. Oh, she do a little lick. She parts her mouth with a soft sigh which borders on the sensuous. She slips your injured digit between her teeth. So much for a princess not dispensing kisses as tokens of appreciation. This is a cute CG. Might not be a conventional kiss, but feels intimate regardless. It's like the princess's lips, which are as red as any rose, are enclosed around to your index finger. You feel the warmth of the princess's mouth on your skin and the wetness of it. These sensations make your whole body quake. Oh, spicy. Yeah, now she's drinking our blood. You did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess what she's doing. Oh, the princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger. Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding. Yes, you gathered as much, but is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I? It's not as you say that she's making you uncomfortable per se, but this is rather awkward. You did not expect it, that's all. Is she not worried that this is unhygienic? Like, this is the medieval times. No one knew about hygiene yet. Unhygienic? The princess blinks. She's the very picture of innocence. Ooh, tremendously. Which is really funny given that your finger is still nestled against her tongue. I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I heard that this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do. And you ask, your voice catching your throat, did her nursemaid keep staunching her wounds with her mouth when she grew older? Well, no, my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I had my ladies' maids to look after me then. How very interesting. And did they ever clean her wounds like this? No, the princess says, smiling mischievously. Because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself, silly. Now that was quite the sharp retort. You didn't expect that. Your face turns even redder. If such a thing is possible, though, this might perhaps be to your benefit. With some luck, all of your blood will flow to your face rather than your finger, and your bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep on suckling, but she still is. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, they kind of did, but they blame disease on bad smells. They got, yes, stinky. You're not accustomed to intimacy of that nature. It is making your heart a-flutter. If the princess knew that her mouth... If the princess knew what her mouth was doing to you, you're sure she would not be so very familiar. You feel quietly, crushingly confident that she would scorn your feelings and deem them unnatural. It would not be the first time. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stinks, though. It stinks much, much more than any thorn on any rose ever could. The days pass, following your misadventures in the rose garden in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash through the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory. So much so. They keep using that phrase. You can scarcely recall what the raw, naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. There's no running to be had while you're working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run. In any event, there's no longer any reason to run. Yet. The shadows which once tormented you have at long last begun to recede. You can scarcely recall as you lay down in your bed the petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused not upon yourself, but upon the princess. The more time you spend with her, the more you come to care for her. You become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. Well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though, despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls. The weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her, and during one stormy night, she chooses to make them known to you. Ooh. You're on the princess's chambers later, perhaps, than you ought to be. Later than is strictly appropriate. It's dark outside, and there's a little safer light of the moon to alleviate that. And the fire which crackles in the grate. You've only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. You look at the princess who's lying on her bed, and you bid her good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause. Wait, dear one, do not go. Not just yet. Perplexed, you pause, and look back at the princess. Though she's smiling, her expression is unusually wan. She alright? Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just nights like this, you know, which makes me feel a little out of sorts. And what, you ask, does she mean by that? Only that it is very cold and very dark, and it's very windy outside. I'm afraid there'll be a storm later. It was awfully cloudy earlier when we went out for our walk. Princess is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier, was gray and steely, the wind bitingly cold. Like, I don't know that word. You can hear the wind rattling mournfully against the panes in the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone. It is well fortified, but even with the fire, it is rather cold. You do not like to think of how much chillier by comparison it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace. It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me feel uncomfortable. You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she really be alright all alone in her oversized bed in her high-ceilinged bedchamber? You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be alright? There is nobody in the castle to hurt her, but still you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You would never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would have you do, and the princess perks up at this, pleased, perhaps, that you are taking the initiative. I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it is so very late. Would you mind sitting with me a little while longer and reading to me, provided you can, of course? This is a fair enough question, but your pride bristles regardless. Hastily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course you could read. Like, I could read, I swear. You were a poor student in many aspects at the conservatoire, but you had something of a gift when it came to the literary arts. Reading books is all you have ever been any good at. Oh, I see. I suppose I should have known. You're so incredible. I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. Princess's high praises make you flush. Awkwardly, you look early. But can you, though? Yes, I can. I swear I can read. Being able to read, you reassure, is not such a great feat. Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read the books that I like. This piques your interest. Intrigued, you ask the princess what books exactly she likes. Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see, old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here, the princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab. The book is old, though, and the bindings are weak. The page is brittle, the writing woefully old-fashioned. I didn't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a good job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading them to me for just a brief while? Please, dear one, oh, please. The princess's request seems a simple one, expressed sweetly, so much so you see no reason to refuse her. Take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. X. Like, don't X me. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious... Yeah. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book which is resting upon her bedside table and spread it open. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You can feel in the heft of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within it. How old is this book? Probably older than Jeepus. Perhaps as old as the castle in which it resides. It is a quiet voice as averted. You begin to read to the princess, a tale of courtly love which accumulated a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while, as you read, the princess listens to you enraptured, or so it seems upon your every word. Yeah, for some reason, the bedroom theme is a little louder than the other music, but I think we're okay right now. Once you reach the final phrase embossed upon the pages of this ancient tome, and they live happily ever after, the princess sighs, as though this tale has touched her very soul. Would that there be a handsome prince to marry me, she says somberly. Or better yet, a beautiful princess. I'm bisexual. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly, scholarly maid. You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper. The storm outside is still squalling, and you've never been one to raise your voice. You're not therefore that the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says, "And what would it be the problem with that, huh? As I'm age, and my happiness come before any silly ideas of proprietary. Well, of course, you reply, but for a princess to marry a scholarly maid." You're still hung up on that, the princess titters. Don't page too much heed. I'm just talking to myself. As if anything like that would ever happen when there's no priest around who would obfuscate it. I think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. If the princess were to find somebody that she loved, there would be nobody to make such a wedding official. You cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch disappointed? Oh, never mind. That was a nice story, the princess says, but I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still stormy outside. Won't you read me once more? You would not mind, you reply, but it is getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber. You don't need a priest. Any gentleman in good standing can officiate a wedding, traditionally at least. Yeah, you had a point there. I know, but can't you find it in your heart to read one more story to me? Just one? You could choose a short one. I won't complain. I have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It's not, you think, because she's a princess, though that is, of course, part of it, but because she's, well, radiant. I'm blue, apathy, die. You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story recounted in this aged compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut out your own tongue. We have another story to the princess, which is of a similar vein to the last. Impossible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess just as much as the tale you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Yeah, italicized radiant. It's like, oh, radiant. You green, you but die, die. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. She's a spoiled brat. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it. Her only request that of more. More! If she were less comely, perhaps her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is quite comely, however, and so when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand without considering the ramifications. It's like, it's 3 a.m. Go to bed. I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big empty bed, so... I know! The princess's eyes light up like the night sky in a thunderstorm. Why don't you sleep with me? You stare at the princess, your eyes wide as goose eggs. Slowly you blink. Then just as slowly you bitter to repeat yourself. Didn't you hear me? The princess giggles. Maybe if you've been so busy cleaning up to me, you've neglected to clean out your own ears. I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me? Why am I coughing? I'll blow my nose. There you go. That's the question she truly means to ask, and it is easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. It would really be alright for you to accept such an invitation? Must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. Sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting while she observes you with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting. Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be... The princess's lower lip begins to tremble. Don't you want to lie with me after all? The sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Yeah, it's the plague. Yeah, I'm alive. My voice is just like, why are you talking so much? And I'm just like, I'm breathing voice. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you? Well, then don't just stand her dilly-dally silly. Come and join me, come. That's what you do after returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown. Once dressed, you waste no time in returning your impetuous princess's side. She's already lying in her glorious four-poster bed awaiting your return as though you are a knight-errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. You've said that like 3 times now. The princess giggles when she sees you. In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you to come closer. Let me fix that for you, silly. Oh no, you say, I could possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her? Maybe so, the princess says, but I don't mind a bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun. Tee-hee. You try a few more refutations, but in vain. The prince summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy, she might be even more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to her demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your nightdress, then rebutton them so the fabric of your plain gown is drawn shut. Satisfied with her handiwork, she has very elegant hands. Wink, wink. The princess draws back and pats the mattress beside her. Yes, with the kitty. Now, come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these sheets are warm. Coyly, the princess smiles. And so am I. You feel warm yourself as you slide into the bed beside the princess. Face as red as the gown the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle grounds. All the while, your heart is fluttering. Does the princess know what an effect she's having on you? Surely she must. How could any woman be so blind? There, the princess exclaims, while your body is lying beside hers. That is much better. Do you feel cozy now, dear one? You swallow with a shaky voice, you reassure her. Yes, you are cozy. You are quite cozy indeed. Yeah, the sheets are warm, eh, yo. Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us here. I know. When I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but... Princess reaches out, then takes your hand in hers, twining your fingers together like a chain. When I'm with you, I feel so very light, as though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel safe, so I want to make you feel safe, too. I don't think she's going to make us safe for very long. I'll take very, very good care of you. I promise. You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? In a way, the princess replies after a pause, but you've been taking good care of me already. Now I need to return the favor. As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description. Hee hee. You're unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with a far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor or an astrophysicist or a mathematics professor. You tell the princess this sleepily and she laughs. You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it. Yes, you think only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. You have been working hard for a long time, running for even longer, but now, long last, you feel like you can let your fears go. I feel like we're gonna regret that. Your eyelids begin to droop, your body beleaguered by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue. And in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness is conveyed to Morpheus's kingdom. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wildcats, both locked in a vicious and blood-thirsty bout to the death, but you do not hear it. Yeah, it's like, what's this one gonna do in her sleep? We'll find out. Like, what's she gonna do to us? Swaddled by the warm blankets about you and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune to all the ills of the world. When you're with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and yes, you even feel loved. Aww. Yeah, about that. It is a pity, then, that these feelings do not last for very long. Oh boy, here it comes. You know that something is wrong. Catastrophically so the moment you open your eyes. Your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you're certain that when you fell asleep it was a bed. A nice warm bed, no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all. Shit. You're standing instead against a cold, hard wall made of stone. The curve of your back is pressed against the wall so intimately you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You are trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together. They sound like castanets. The sound is almost jaunting as it echoes through your cell, for that is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber, wherein you fell asleep, is a thing now of the past. You are standing instead, you realize, with a sharp start, in the cell of some great underground dungeon. To the dungeons! You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach's beginning to churn with anxiety. You feel like you're going to be sick, a feeling which swells up inside you to a staggering degree. You catch notice of the stench. You are not, you realize, the only one in the dungeon. There are others here, others attired in simple black and white outfits of servants, which look much like the dress that you once wore. What, kitty? Think, kitty, this is not the time to cry. The blood drips. Like, to the dungeon, to the walls. The blood drips. Okay. I'm like, wait a minute, did I read this already? The others who are to you, however, in this expansive cell, manacled to the walls, are no fit safe to speak to you, nor to tell you of their plight. Mother, I saw a bug. Attend to me, mother. Oh, ski. Yeah. I was trying to think of another word that would rhyme with walls, and I couldn't think of anything. We have been having bugs crawl around. Like little silver bugs and ants and stuff. It's that time of the year. They're all unfeeling, unseething, unbreathing. They are all dead. You cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained, but even if you could, there would be no point. Like, yeah, gee, what makes you think they're dead, huh? What, like, really? There's no way any human could survive the wounds which had been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman slumped, the front of her once white apron stained with blackish blood. There's a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have half escaped in some sort of burgundy goop, which might have once been pale pink. There is another woman slumped beside the first, of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. Maybe she's not a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. The girl's age or lack of did not preclude her attacker from inflicting upon her horrors, alas, for her body is even more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheals, and her face has been half smashed in. Only one eye remains, stared fixedly on the wall opposite her, in the ruined remains of what was once her skull. Over there you see a woman who is missing both her arms and lower jaw. Over there you see another who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? You have no idea. It's doing trying to convince us this is for her own good. We'll find out. The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You know not how long these carcasses have been lying down here, and they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you should you stay here. You need to escape. Fitfully you struggle against the manacles which bind you, but alas, it is no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your strengths are much too strong, and you are much too weak. Panic rises in your throat. Cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This too glacial. It is obvious that escape is impossible, but still you squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There is little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save making the steel manacles dig into your abused wrists more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts! Well, you ought to have known that would not work. The very definition of insanity is, performing a set of action over and over again, hoping for a different response. In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not so very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider. Would you not agree? No, evidently not. You're still trying to escape, you foolish girl, as if... What will you... Like, that will do you any good. The clangerous rattling of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. You're making enough noise to raise the dead down there in your dark, dingy cells, and all your scream is hardly helping matters. I wished you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. I know, narrator, I know. Yeah. Domoikar, welcome. I'm doing good. How are you? It's like, yeah. To sum up what's happened, we went to a castle. Castle was empty except for a princess. Princess basically made us her maid, and we were playing with roses, and we heard our fingy, and she sucked on our fingy, and then after reading some stories to her, we shared a bed with her and woke up instead of the bed in a dungeon. So, yeah, we're here now. Probably gonna get tortured to death. I don't know. We'll find out. Not did you have ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she now your kind, considered mistress? Look now, she has come all this way, into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her? Like, yeah, you're just in time for the crazy part. You're just gonna get a little bit of torture as a treat. Oh, dear one, the princess trails, entering the dungeon with a series of light, littling steps. It would seem like you have finally awoken. How are you? Based on that infernal racket you've been making, it would seem like you have no shortage of energy. It's like, do you think? There you go. Bailey, you turn your head as to meet the eyes of the princess. You're standing but a few paces away beneath the roughly honed stone arch which bigs one entry, but rarely ever an exit to the dungeons. The dungeons are all dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It is so bright and brilliant that for a few moments it hurts for you to look at her. Once the red of the princess' outfit made you think of romance. Now makes you think of violence. You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. I did think of waiting here with you by your side till you awoke, but... Once again the princess giggles. A light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation you have found yourself. A dungeon is not a fit place after all for a princess. It is horribly cold here and so very drab, and there's nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets, but then they would have gone dirty, and that would have been a disaster. Thank God, our priorities. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up after my messes soon. Not when I've dispatched of you. Once again, the princess laughs. Her laugh is light and lilting, like the chiming of a silvery bell, but does little to alleviate your concern. If anything, it makes you feel even more alarmed. Did she say she meant to dispatch of you? Yes, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought you might have figured that out already after waking up in a dungeon, silly! Still smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You are completely powerless. The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air of the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you. You wish she would keep touching you. You luxuriate in her kindness as best as you can. But though the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances rather undermine them. How can you relax like this? Ah, you're such a good girl. the princess says in a cajoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together, I really couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Why then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though it sounds, she must be the one who changed you up. There's nobody else in the castle who would have committed such a feat. Everybody else is dead. Well, yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all of this naturally. Naturally, she says, as though her portrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you? Oh, only what I've done to all my other servants. I have experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you. And by good care of, she means, naturally, I'll kill you. Naturally, she says. Oh my god. There it is again, that word, which seems grossly inappropriate given all which has transpired. Naturally. There's nothing natural about this. Do you not think so? The princess examines you, her expression ponderous. It is natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. This just feels right. Presenting her servants in the dungeon and letting them die? Yes, exactly. There is a bit more to do than that, though. Oh, of course there is. I like you, dear one, the princess says in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious. You have been good to me, like I said, and kind. For that will be eternally appreciated. You have been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough. Not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I am a greedy, selfish girl, you see. The princess's smile winds into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you have never before witnessed. And I don't want to feel you beside me. I want to feel you inside me. Well, the things your charming captive could have said, you did not expect that. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle. A giggle even lighter than meringue, and just as airy. It's just an inoffensive. I can see you don't understand, dear one, but you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too. Oh, the way the princess has her hand crossed on your cheek, such a mood. That is a mood. I know exactly what you mean. Thank God, her wording. Wanly, the princess sighs. A beleaguered woe is me sigh, which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses. Oh, and the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you at least might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least, when she still had the breath to speak, of course. You look at the princess, where else is there to look, really? Your eyes are fixated to her face. She is still smiling, but there is something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps in your anxious state, you're only imagining that there is something sinister about her smile. It is easy to see things which do not really exist when your surroundings are festooned in the shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different to how she usually does. Neither is she acting any differently to the way she usually acts. She has not changed. It is only her perspective for her that has changed. Tremendously. Or tremulously. I am reading that word wrong. You ask the princess what she means. Like, that's another SAT word there. A question the princess is only too happy to answer. It's simple, really. Like I said, you're wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or any servants in the castle when you first arrived here? The question had crossed your mind, yes. You're sure the princess said her minister sent them away, though. Was that a lie? I wasn't being wholly truthful, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if you knew what actually happened, and I didn't want that. I wanted you to stay with me. My mistress didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched of them, too. Did she know? I suppose you ought to not be surprised, but you still shudder regardless. My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died. Yeah, treated by royalty. Yeah. The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abysses. So I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all fussy old men. But I did love my servants. I loved my lady's maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow? Not logically, no. Why, you asked the princess, your voice trembling. Would you eat the people that you love? Is it a poor way to repay them for their kindness? Why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude, unless you have any better ideas. You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and dumbfounded you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself. It was hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and as there isn't strictly legal. It's like, well, eating people isn't nice. That kills people. Oh, Dumbo Poppy Seeds, welcome! Just in time for us to be killed by a princess who wants to eat us. And not in the lesbian way, unfortunately. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be with increased wages or increased holidays. The princess listens to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you finish, however, her concentration fails her. Yeah, exactly. Her shoulders begin to shake, but is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she is laughing. Oh, dear one, that's very funny. Why would I care about the law? I'm a princess, one day I'll be queen. I am the law! That's a good point, but would eating people not turn her subjects against her? What subjects? I'm no fool, you know. No matter how I might act, I know what happens beyond the castle walls. I know all about the plague. Once I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess and nothing but I'm only a monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely. If she feel lonely, then why has she been systematically selling off her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense. Perhaps not to you. Gently, the princess caresses your cheek. Yeah, that's 69. That's the number of places she'll cut into you. Yeah, of course. She's gotta, you know, she's gotta cut you up and cook you up and flambe you a bit. I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you are a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts. Probably you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought processes, largely because it is unreasonable. Do not say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you could think of, with your weary throat which is sore from shouting. Why? Like, that is a very good question, isn't it? Let's see here. Like, my other piece is not plugged in. There we go. Why, you asked, the princess blinks. It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everyone leaves sooner or later, whether they've pledged their alliance to me or not. This is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconsistent. Even to me, a monarch. That is why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so, to consume their flesh and blood. I am a monogamous ruler, you see, and I treat all of my subjects equally. I love every single one of you, and naturally I love you too. You've been awfully nice to me, and you are very pretty alongside it. If you were a plain, ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as tensely as this. But you've captured my heart, and I think you're lovely. So I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine, and we can stay together forever and ever. The princess leans in. You can feel her soft, silken hair brushing against your cheeks. You can feel, too, the warmth of her breath as it ghosts against your skin. It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is perverse, though this might sound something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. What did they leave? It's like, yeah, you know, it's like they don't stay in your body forever. Her smile, meanwhile, is so sweet. I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really... The princess exhales. Her eyes, which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you could see an alarming lack of light, the lack of anything. The princess gains some degree of humanity. It gets so lonely here. The brief flicker of understanding which passes between the pair of you is soon cut short. The princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are as red as the petals of a carnivorous flower. You feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm, the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. For a few moments, you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic in a way, but this too comes to a swift, merciless close. Ow! The princess's mouth is on your neck. The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. The princess is draining your blood. She's stuffing it on in a great, greedy goblets, like a hungry animal, one who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess sups from you, her arms twined around your waist, you cannot hate her. She is far too unworldly. You are sure as your consciousness begins to fade that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love for her past servant. That this is simply the way the princess expressed this great love of hers. A love which is so very abundant it borders upon the monstrous. It's not wrong though, she is pretty. Yeah, she is. Got that nice pink hair. It's a love you never thought you would ever experience. This love of the princess eclipses anything you have ever known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reason. It eclipses all the notions you might have had of right or wrong. The princess, as you know well, does not care about such concepts. You've always possessed a stubborn core nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is even stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The princess draws back desperately. You gasp for air. She does not give you any quarter. As before, she lifts her head, her red lips redder still with your blood, then splits apart her jaw. Her teeth, which are impossibly, inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives. Then she tears out your throat. The front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red. There is so much blood you can smell it when you inhale. Sharper than metal. It is so potent, you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but this task proves to be beyond you. What of the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin? Your attempted breaths, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for quite the sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. You reap what you sow, and in this case you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise. Now what do you want to do? Will you accept your fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it? Alright, how do I... There we go. Alright, time to make them choices again. Of course, we'll start by accepting. Getting kind of excited now. Yeah, it is pretty interesting, isn't it? Well, really, you're fine with being alive in a dark, dingy dungeon and then being left to rot. That does not sound like a very satisfying ending in this particular narrative. But if that's what you want, then so be it. I do not mind indulging you. That is what I've always done, after all, from the moment we first met. I dedicated myself tirelessly to answering your wishes, and this is no different. Do not be so foolish to think, though, that you can escape me, even if your life's blood is mingled with that of the princess's. I am not going to relinquish my hold on you that easily. I did pledge, after all, to remain by your side. Come what will, fire or flood, I will never leave you. You will never be lonely again. Alright, that's the first one. No, hold on. Make sure I'm loading. Load. There we go. Now we'll fight. You fight against already having your rip throat out? Yeah, the narrator's the real yandere. Yeah. That is a good answer. I must admit I like it. It is impressive how divine you can be in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story. Like all fair maidens, you are deserving of your own happy ending. You don't need the strength to try and seek it out. Why don't we give this another go? Let's try not to stare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. Gee, I'll try. You're destined for far higher purposes than being an entree, and there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world. Yeah, the fate was again in your hands. Now I wonder, what path will you take? I've taken them all, so let's see what happens. Give up. Ooh. So you've come back here, have you? That does not come as much of a surprise, though presented with 3 potential paths, it is not as though traversing any of them would have any particular impact upon your ultimate fate. In the end, you were always destined to return here. Did you really think I had a choice? How hopelessly naive of you. I thought you were smarter than that. Yeah, this game is insane. You are absolutely correct. Your breath, which once escaped your lips in sharp, ragged gasps, is now on the verge of petering out altogether. Your lungs feel deflated as though they've been punctured. Your blood is rushing through your temples in a heady, overwhelming surge. Your stomach, meanwhile, has twisted itself up in knots. Your body feels heavy, your legs in particular, and they no longer wish to obey you. You can suddenly step forwards and your foot gets caught in a tree root. You're certain you passed this tree root once already and that you sidestepped it. But perhaps your memory is beginning to fail you, just like the rest of your body. You gasp, surprised to pitch forward, dull and senseless, like a sack full of potatoes. Your arm hits the ground with a crack, one which makes you cry out in pain. Tears begin to bead on your eyes, wet and salty, tears which you cannot stomach. You're not as resilient as the gravedigger, nor as carefree as the princess. If you lived underwater like the mermaid, then nobody at the very least would be able to tell that you are crying, but you do not, and I can. Believe me, I can. Your arm aches dreadfully, but at least you can still feel it. Your poor feet, meanwhile, have gone quite numb. You would try to stand, had you the energy, but you know as you sit there dazed that this would be a futile effort. You cannot stand, not any longer. It hurts too much. You really have been through a lot tonight, haven't you? I fear I've not been very kind to you, but I ought to be accustomed to hardship. Why then are you crying? You've always been a crybaby. That is why they teased you so much. It is because they knew they would be guaranteed a reaction. You are very predictable. Even now, after you tried to borrow my power for your own purposes, you have not changed at all. As you sit there sobbing, you think it hears footsteps approaching you. There to your right is the snapping of a twig. To your left, the telltale rustle of leaves. Your every sense feels razor-sharp, honed to a sharp point by anxiety. You are so panicked you feel as though you're going to be sick. If you want to vomit, then why not? There's no shame in it. There's nobody here to judge you. Nobody but me. I've always been here, you know. I will always be here, no matter how fast you try to run or how far. Did you really think you could escape me? Poor sweet child. Poor little fool. I did tell you, did I not? A contract with a witch is binding. No amount of physical distance between the both of us could ever sever it. I told you I would never let you be lonely, and I meant it. I'd rather enough of these little games. It is time for me to collect my collateral. Oh, hey, I guess that's the narrator. Hello? Like, oh, hey, look, I think we finally met the narrator. A soft gasp escapes your throat as you feel arms wind their way around your back. Naturally, you know whose arms they are. They are mine. I have been watching you all night, but this is the first time I've reached out to you with so direct a manner. Did you not expect me to be so forward? I like how even, like, the shadows in her hair are bone-shaped. That's a nice little detail. I could hear your heart fluttering in your chest. It is beating very quickly like a startled rabbit's. Your breaths are short and sharp. It is a cold night, and though I am holding you are still shaking. I wish you would not tremble so. Everybody fears the unknown, but we are not strangers. We have spoken before, have we not, when you first called me forth from the ether, using that book you found in the library? You were desperate enough then to turn the occult for help. You pleaded with me to use my magic for your behalf. You begged me. You implored and you entreated and you wheedled and you whined, and though I had some reservations, you forced my hand. I had no choice, not in the face of your desperation. You did not want to be lonely anymore. You wanted to have a friend, someone who would always be there for you no matter what. Is that a dark jaw or a light face? That is a great question. It could be that she had, judging for the way her jaw, you look at the way like the ears and everything are, I think she could be wearing like, it's like, it could be like the top part's like skull shaped, like paint or discoloration. That's a good question. You wanted somebody to love you. Is that not what you demanded of me? Is that what I have given you? You might think me wicked, but I think you are being awfully cruel yourself to run from me as I made all your wishes come true. I did think, about punching you for running away from me. I thought of poking out your eyes so you might never see anybody other than me. I thought of cutting off your long, lovely hair so that nobody might ever think you beautiful but me. I thought of breaking your legs so you might never be able to escape from me. I turned all these intriguing ideas over in my mind, but I am a merciful witch. Though you hurt me, I do not wish to hurt you. You asked after all that I love you, and that is what I did. I have drowned you in my love. I have buried you beneath my love. I have swallowed you with my love. You've always been a sad, lonely girl, one who has been starved of affection. Nobody has ever cared for you. Your life has been a barren, empty wasteland, one devoid of any fonder feelings. That's why I had to drown you, see? That's why I had to bury you. That's why I had to swallow you. In the end, I was doing you a favor. I was doing it all for you. In that sense, you are very lucky. Do you know that? There are very few people in the world who have had the privilege of being loved to the brink of insanity quite this many times in one night. The witch is very yandere simultaneously. It's like, yeah, she is the all of the above. There are very few people in the world who can claim to have been loved by a witch. You experienced so much love, it ought to be slacked even your unquenchable thirst. You know now what it feels like to be adored. I have more than upheld my end of the bargain. Now I think it is time you do the same. From this night forth, you and I will always be together. Then I shall be able to love you endlessly. You will never be lonely again. Ominous, isn't it? But that's not the end. Quite the opposite. Now here's the interesting thing. Let's say we want to go load our saves. But as you can see, they're all gone. Strange, isn't it? So let's start the game anyway. Let's see, is there a... Yeah, it looks... I wasn't sure if it was going to be the same or different. I think she does quite the opposite of kill us. Yeah. Okay, the dialogue is different. I just realized. Like, we're basically recognizing what's going on. I wasn't sure if it was going to be the same in the beginning. Anyway. See the wicked brambles which sought to snare you, I might add, and succeed tree roots hooked by the choppy fingers of which is so far older than I. Sought to trip you. You have cut your feet. You have torn your skirt. Taken numerous paths, yet they all ended in failure. Once you had hope. Now it is gone. You're already given in to me. Why are you still running? Okay, so this is all new. I wasn't sure. Silly girl, did you think you could escape from me after I have subjected you... after all I have subjected you to already? There is no use trying to escape from my embrace, and if I may be so bold, I am hurt that you would even attempt it. Were you not happy with me? I was happy with you. But no matter, you're a stubborn little chit-chat. Perhaps you think that things will be different this time around. That's why you began to run. I can see, despite the fear in your eyes, that your resolve is not burned out, not just yet. A spark of it still remains, a spark that I meant to extinguish for good. It is pointless, you know, trying to escape from a witch's curse. It is forced of phantasmagoria, constructed from my own powers. I am a creator goddess, Mother Earth, if you will. It doesn't matter how quickly you run, trampling the tall grass and the loose leaves on ugly spotted mushrooms underfoot. I still have you right where I want you, in the palm of my hand. I will not let you get away that easily. But very well. If you insist I play this little game, then I will indulge you. I will play along. We can do this all over again. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. You are still running through a forest. It is late at night and the sky is black as pitch. Start to, I think, light your way, save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. Trees which surround you jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god are blotting most of the light. You cannot see where you're going, even if you had commenced your flight in a more sensible hour. Though the light of the sun to aid you would be of little use. You do not know where you're going. You have no mount, no route, no plan. You are running enough like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy. No destination in mind, none of beyond the almost overwhelming impetus to escape. And let yourself be caught. Though it is too late, I suppose, for that. You have no choice, therefore, to keep going. On and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. You run and run and run until at long last you reach a fork in the road. There are 3 paths which split through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path down which you came. Can't exactly double back on yourself, though. Why would you? Put all that effort. After all the running forwards, not just once, but twice. I doubt you mean to confront me. How can you, when you're so afraid? I could hear your teeth chattering, you know. I could see your legs trembling. Your fear rolls off you in waves, more potent than any perfume. Your anxiety is truly staggering. It is a wonder, really, how you're able to keep putting one foot in front of the other. You will keep putting your feet in front of the other, though, no matter which decision you make. You will not turn back. How could you? You are far too cowardly. Now, the 3 paths are signposts, as well you know, which would be a strange sight, given you are so deep in the forest. You ought to be used to strange sights by now. It is dark, but that does not matter. You have seen the signpost before, and you know full well where each path will lead you. I would say that your fate is in your hands. But you and I both know that's incorrect. Your fate is, and has always been, mine to manipulate. Must we go through this whole rigmarole again? You won't discover anything new, you know. The mermaid, the gravedigger, and the princess will not deviate from the scripts which have already been prepared for them. I did not in all honesty think to furnish any further responses for them. And did not think you would be seeing them again. But no matter. That's what you want. I shall provide it for you. Go ahead. Throw your life away. Again, and again, and again. Be drowned by love. Be buried by love. Be consumed by love. Then when you have had enough and you can no longer stand, submit yourself once again to my embrace. Let yourself experience the love as precious few humans have ever had the misfortune of experiencing. Like, gee, thanks. Well, let's see. Let's go to the shore. Ah, it is going exactly the same. We can even fast forward through it. Like, alright, it'll take a minute, but it's going pretty quickly. TLDR for the mermaid, she drowns us. We'll fight against it. You'll soldier on, will you? That is remarkable given the second time you've been pulled beneath the ocean surface. I would have thought you would have given up by now. But no matter. You really are stubborn. I cannot promise a better fate than this awaits you, regardless of what you might choose, but I am willing to indulge you. Let's go back to the beginning again. Yeah, your fate is in your hands. At least that's what you once thought. You and I both know, however, this was never the case. Not as you belong to me. How much longer can you keep resisting, though? I cannot wait to find out. Like, suddenly I'm reminded of the other Yandere game we played, where it was like, oh, I'll keep killing you as many times as it takes. But that seems to be the best way to defeat a Yandere that's forced you into a death loop, is to just not give up. Yep, and then the gravedigger buries us. We fight. My, this is certainly unexpected. I'd rather thought after everything you've subjected to, you no longer wish to continue this farce. I was fully prepared for you to forfeit yourself at long last to my loving embrace. I am ready to embrace you should you so desire and cradle you within an unassailable affection. But it seems you are not ready to submit. Not quite yet. Being buried alive twice over has not been enough to diminish your determination. You still wish to fight against me. Has you have any hope of succeeding? Yours are futile. Did you not know that? I'm far, far stronger than any skinny human like yourself could ever even begin to contemplate. You would be better served if you gave in. Perhaps I have not loved you exclusively enough. Not just yet. To learn anything, I must first beat it into your thick skull of yours. Will you listen to me then? I only want what's best for you now. Hurting you hurts me too. But if that's what you want, so be it. Yes, Betty Kitty. It's like, that's the thing, because we're choosing to go through the whole story again, despite us giving up. we're choosing to go through all the experiences again, and she's taunting us, basically. Let's go to the beginning once again. It's like, so far, everything's still playing out the same. That's the point that the narrator's trying to make. She's being like, give up, just accept my love, or die. As true yandere fashion. Fate's in your hands, at least that's what you might think. You and I both know that was never the case. You still belong to me, and I will never let you forget that. Now continue to struggle. Do your very best. It will not work, but it should be entertaining if nothing else. Yeah. But yeah, if it's fast forwarding, that means we've gone through it already. That's how I noticed, like, oh, all the forest dialogue's the same because it wasn't letting me fast forward. And I was like, wait a minute. Oh, you wish to keep going, do you? That is impressive, given this is the second time you've been devoured so heartily. Of all the demises you've experienced, this is the one the most gruesome. If you had tired of these repetitions, I would understand. I'm not the wicked witch you might think I am, and I would be willing to show you mercy should you want it. But I could tell you do not want it. Goodness me, you are stubborn. Why ask you to continue to fight? Have you survived on any route? No. That's the point. The witch is telling us, like, either you submit to me or you die horribly. She's trying to show us that we are caught in a death loop and is trying to break us in the process. There's no escape for you, you know. I will never let you leave no matter how you struggle, but very well. Let's go back to the beginning once again. Yeah, no survival. Exactly. Fate is in your hands, or so I once told you. You ought to know, however, this was never truly the case. You still belong to me. I'm not going to let you get away from me, not that easily. You can struggle as much as you want, but it will be in vain. It does not matter where you go. I will always find you. I can promise you that much. Give up? Question mark? It's like... Question mark? There, you see? Are you happy now? I told you there was no use in repeating this night, yet you failed to listen. You've been drowned, buried, and consumed once more, and for what? Do you feel as though you have made any progress in your attempts to escape from me? Once again, you find yourself as you were at the end of your last foray in my forest full of nightmares. You are kneeling upon the ground, your feet aching, perhaps they are bleeding, and your skirt tattered and torn. You try to inhale, but it hurts. Feels as though your lungs have been punctured by a pair of embroidery scissors. When you swallow, you can taste salt upon your tongue. You blink, but it's so very dark in the woods you fear you cannot see. There's a heavy, leaden weight upon your shoulders. It feels as though somebody is shoveling soil upon you. Your body is cold, as though it is sapped of all warmth. Your blood, which ought to flow to your veins, feels as though it is frozen. That has been purged from your body altogether in rust-rained gobbets. Have you not had enough of this now, silly thing? I am saying this for your sake, you know. Just as much as I am mine. I might have trapped you hence. I did it only because I care for you. Only want for you to realize the folly of your ways. Now cease your foolish attempts to escape. You'll accomplish nothing save stretching your mind beyond its limitations. It's already, I fear, been stretched thin already. Humans are not designed to die, not as incessantly as you have. One death would have been enough to finish most of your kind off, yet you have endured 6 of them. You do not want to go through that again, do you? Then do not run from me. Let me console you. Let me embrace you. Let me love you. What do you say to that? Cat got your tongue, huh? Yeah. Alright, have a good sleep, Cosmic. Well, no matter. You will not need your tongue to speak while we are together. It is not necessarily an unnecessary appendage. However much you might wish one day to whisper sweet nothings to me. I am an all-powerful witch after all, and I can hear all of your thoughts. I know what you are thinking. Yes, that is right. Silence is golden. Silence is golden, as they say. You need not speak. You do not need to speak. That almost went down the wrong pipe. Excuse me. And clear my nose. You do not need to blink. You do not even need to breathe. Now that you are finally mine, I will cut off your tongue and I will pluck out your pretty little eyes and I will... No. I beg your pardon. What was that, dear one? Oh? I said no. I am not your dear one. I never wanted this. I'm fine, but thank you for the tissue. What? You still defy me still, even after all you endured? For 6, that's not enough for you, you gluttonous girl. You wish for more? I just wish for a friend. I didn't want to be lonely. But you ensnared me. You tricked me. Well, I never. What bold accusations. They're not true, though, you know. They're a bald-faced lie. I did nothing of the sort. My name might begin in a similar fashion, but I am no Mephistopheles. I was very upfront when we first met. I said if you wished to make a contract with me, it would cost you. It is your own fault that you did not listen. You accepted my terms, and now you are paying the price. Now, if you will come with me, my dear. I am not your dear! Really now, this has all become rather tiresome. Since you cease this childish outburst at once, or else. Or else what? Will you cut off my tongue? Will you pluck out my eyes? You already stole my name. It's coming back to me. What? No! That should be impossible. You gave your name to me. You gave your soul to me. You pledged your heart and your body to me, and now I want them back. Yeah, we're just like, no. I'm tired of these games, too. Medea. You remember my name? I do now. You're called Medea, and I... No! Stop it! I'm called Rosette! It can't be. I knew you were stubborn, but... I learned how to be stubborn. I'm used to being bullied. You're just like the others. I'm not afraid of you anymore. You took everything from me, and now I'm taking it back. No, you can't! Rosette, please, don't go! Don't leave me! We made a contract, you and I. You said you wanted a friend, and I promised to be that friend. I promised I would always be there for you. But yay, we're rebelling. I promised I would always be there for you. Do you really mean to abandon me? That was the general idea. And what of me? What am I supposed to do? You? You can rot for all I care. What? No, Rosette! I call after you retreating back, but you do not heed my words. You do not turn your head. Once it was you who knelt in the dirt, your clothes tattered and torn, your dignity alongside it. You were so vulnerable then, and you were so very, very beautiful. In a perverse way, however, I think you might look even more beautiful now that you are walking away from me. That is a thing you humans say, is it not? You never realize just how much you value something until you no longer have it. It's not hold true in my case, however. I knew you were precious fine when you first summoned me. Your fiery determination, even in the face of extreme hardship, endeared you to me. I thought you very noble, really. How you'd survived for so long in an environment which was so very hostile. For a human, I thought you were remarkable. That is why I decided to form a contract with you. I thought with a human like you by my side, my own life of empty, endless wandering might not be so... lonely. Goodness me. I must be growing sentimental in my old age. Now you are not the one upon the ground. It is I. I could keep calling for you, but I know it would do no good. You will not turn back from me now. Not when I have caused you so much suffering. I did not mean to hurt you so, though. I did truly love you, albeit in my own way. In the end, however, I suppose the love of which was too much even for you to endure. Now there's nothing but the milky moonlight and the trees which jut out of the earth about me. They look like monuments built in the honor of a foreign god. They look nothing from the world you knew, Rosette, because they are not of your world. They are of mine. Now that you have fled me like a bird let loose from its cage, I fear I will never see you again. I will be on my own in this forest for all eternity. or until another silly little girl with stars in her eyes and dreams in her heart summons me once more. It has all happened a handful of times in the past. It might one day happen again. Until that day, however, I will lie here among the foliage and the fog, and I will close my eyes. I will let myself dream, and enrobed in undulating mists, I shall think to myself, it gets so lonely here. Now you might be wondering, is that the end? Well, let us see. Let's start one more time. I am sitting in a forest. It is late at night and the sky is black as pitch. There is nothing to light my way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach me, not properly. The trees which surround me, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. If I were running, I would not be able to see where I was going. But such concerns are trivial to me. There is nowhere, after all, for me to run to. I am all alone. You have abandoned me. You made a contract with me once when you wished for a friend. It was a contract I swore I would fulfill upon my good name. But you betrayed me. Oh, Rosette, why did you have to go? My days were intolerably dull and tedious without you to amuse me. Your company slacked my boredom nicely. But now that you have gone, that boredom has returned fourfold. It is so consuming I fear I might go mad from it, if I have not granted gone mad already. If only there was another mortal out there, one who might keep me company, if only. Oh? Perhaps I spoke too soon. It would seem that another has intruded upon my moonlit solitude after all, far more quickly than I was expecting. How very fortuitous. Well met, stranger. Does the moon not look beautiful tonight? Why, it's almost as if our encounter was preordained by a being far greater than both of us. As, of course, is a foolish thought. There are few beings out there more powerful than myself. Now then, would you care to create a contact with me and relieve the events of this night anew? Well, we could, or we could not. Well, we'll start by saying yes. And then we can come back and see what no does. Very good. Yes, we can choose both. Very good. Now come to me, dear one. You are lonely too. I can tell the scent of loneliness positively rolls off you, much like lit mist in the early morning. Oh, come. Do not look so surprised. It was not at all a difficult guess. Why else would you be spending time with me? Had you anything better to do with your time? We are all lonely here. In that sense, we not be so very similar, you and I. Though I might be a witch and you a human, I am not a stranger to the complicated emotions of your kind. I was human myself once upon a time. That was a very, very long time ago. Now come to me and I shall tell you a story. I will tell you a story of a girl running through the forest without ceasing, a girl entrapped by patchwork fairy tale world with no beginning and no end. My story will unravel unbroken from now until the end of time. If you allow me yourself to be submerged within it, we need never be lonely again. Like, well, that's one option. And I was warned the game would close after I did that. Because I'm looking at the spoiler-free guide, and it's like, yeah, after you choose one option, the game will close, and then you have to reopen it. Inglés, por favor. Yeah, so now all we gotta do is just go through that one more time, pick the other option, and then that's it. You're running through a forest. It's late night and the sky is black as pitch. Nothing to light your way save the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. Trees which surround you, getting out the earth, blotting out most of the light. I think it is going to be the same. No mount. Yeah, it's gonna all be the same, isn't it? Lost all meaning. Yeah, it's all gonna be the same. Let me see here. What I could do. Just skip all text. That should do it. Because we basically have to go through the game. Like, to see the other ending, we have to go through the game all over again. So it's like, just for the sake of our sanity. But I gotta say, overall, this game was really, really good. Like, it has a very interesting premise. And I like how each of the routes all connect. In the different ways that the yanderes come after you and the reasons why they do it. Domo Boo's watch. Welcome. Yeah, it is incredibly sad because it's like... Basically, it's like... No matter what happens, it's like... Terrible things will happen to you, and it's like either you submit yourself to the witch or you have to stand up for yourself and overcome what she's doing to you. It does seem like it did seem like once Rosette remembered her name, that freed her from the witch's curse. Okay. Yeah, I think this is all the same. You've been here before. Feels like you've been running. Yeah, so I still gotta skip it. Ugh. Yeah, fighting against fate sounds difficult. It is. It's all sendings plus one curse-free ending. Yeah, basically. Because it's like, no matter what you pick with running against the witch, because I think that is the moral, is that you shouldn't be trying to run away from your problems, because you could just find yourself in new problems. So by standing up for herself, like, that's how she was able to finally be free from the curse that the witch basically put on her. That's interesting, I never heard of it. Yeah, it's like, I only found out about this because it turned out there was some kind of yandere jam thing, and I was like, I was looking through the games that were made, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. This is life, it's contextual, who we are, what we're surrounded by, so many aspects and influences to consider, but also to set aside, understand people as they choose to be. Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, he does play, Kaizo Mario. Yeah, and then this is when Rosette... like, no, screw you. Like, screw you and your bad endings. Once played one called My Yandere Girlfriend. It was quite normal, but I enjoyed it. Okay. So weird how Yandere Simulator is still banned on Twitch. Okay, here we go. Don't make a contract with her. Like, oh, do you not wish to stay with me, dear one? Very well. You're awfully cruel, but I can understand how you feel. I am a benevolent witch, regardless of what some people might say, and I would never force you to do anything, not against your will. My love is, and has always been, reciprocal in nature, though she did not appreciate that. Now, if that is all, would you like to run along? No good can come, you know, of soliciting with witches in the dead of night. You'd best be on your way and quickly. Otherwise, I might just change my mind. After all, it gets so lonely here. And there you go. That's what the other ending looks like. Oh, but it seems like that put you back at the title. Maybe I should have picked the second one first. Oh, well, whatever. Well, regardless, I'll exit out now. Well, I still have a couple minutes. I can boot up Musynx. Where are you? I have so many games. We'll update. There we go. I'll just do a couple songs. Why not? Like, I want to play. And I just gotta get it to show up on here. Where are you? Might have to... Yep. There we go. Yeah, I'll do a warm-up song and then I'll try something difficult. Like, I haven't played this game in a couple weeks. Like, yeah, with this song, it changes speeds. Now it's picking up. This is a good warm-up song. There we go. No other notes? That's what I thought. I was like, well, there's gotta be more notes. Like, I caught it. Like, yay, I did it. I think there's some songs back here I didn't do. Let's see if I can find them. Well, there's an 8 one. There's a 7 one. There's a 6 one. So we'll go in ascending order.
上每一个步伐，应有的梦想家放声歌唱。
It's like from crazy killer yanderes to cutesy music.拼出来的画面充满幻想，指尖旋转，用力剑击下，确认了每一步的方向。在路上，醒来的目光，只是这一句话，没有释放。 And yes, the music's mostly Chinese, if you're wondering. Okay, cool. It's like, did better at that than I thought I would. Yeah, I got S rank. Holy shit. Yay. Oh god. They gotta love how one level makes such a difference. Ah, I missed that. Okay. Like that part where it's like you gotta like quickly switch the keys. It's like, oh shit. It's so fast. Still got an A rank, so that's good. I think there's one even further back. Like even further back. Let me see. What's like the furthest back? Yeah, that one. Yeah, I know I'm good at rhythm games. Thank you. Like I have a lot of experience with rhythm games. Of course, I try a level 9 song and I'm fucking up. Okay. It's very hard to fail this game. Like, it has very merciful rules. You have to be fast with that. Oh god, that was crazy. Still got an A rank, see what I mean? It just do be like that sometimes. Alright. I had my fun. Alright. Let's see, who can I send you guys to? Thank you all so much for coming. And, like, next week's gonna be a pretty big Genshin week since they had, like, an update and stuff. Let's see. But I should be posting my schedule tomorrow. Yeah, so have a good night, everyone. Stand up against your bullies and yanderes and don't let them trap you in a death loop. Yeah, it was great to see you guys. It's always good to see you guys. Alright, good night, everyone. Sleep well.